Because people asked for it in the video, I have a few fun examples. So, one of the quick shortcuts is looking for whether you have one accidental or two accidentals or no accidentals. So, I'm going to play the first piece. Tell me whether it's in natural, harmonic, or melodic. I should have printed one out for me too. I am a poor, wayfaring stranger, but I can't see the lyrics from here. But there's something that they are saying in that right world to which I belong. What is it?
Natural.
Why is it natural?
There's no accidentals.
So yes, the shortcut is because there's no accidentals.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right. But there's always going to be fa.
Yeah, there's always going to be fa. It's
It's
whether there's going to be te. It's whether there's going to be te or t, right? So now, so why don't you sing it? So why don't you sing it? I put the solfege up there. Ready, sing. So that would be do, te, do. Now I'm going to play it as if it was in harmonic minor. Okay? So I'm going to play do, ti, do. I'm going to play it fast. Yeah, it changes the sound, doesn't it?
Can you play it one more time?
Yeah, I'm just going to start from the last line. Huh?
It still sounds like okay.
It does, exactly. You like it better? It still sounds fine. It's just about having like a different color or a different flavor in the music, right? And this is very style and like genre dependent, okay? So whether you use mostly natural minor or whether you use mostly harmonic minor. And this is partly where music theory is useful in terms of recognizing different traits of different styles and genres. So like Mozart 99% of the time uses a raised seventh. He uses T. 99% of the time. He's going to have a T in minor. He's like 1% of the time he has a Te. I can't even think of a piece where he has Te in it. Okay? But folk music, like Wayfarer Stranger, like 95% of the time is going to be Te as opposed to T. It's about, it all sounds right. It all sounds fine. It just creates kind of a different flavor and it sounds stylistically different. Okay? Okay, I'm going to play the Schubert Waltz. Tell me if it's in natural, melodic, or harmonic. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Why is it harmonic? Yeah, so the quick shortcut is because you see a consistent accidental on A sharp, right? And that's raising the Te up to T. Okay, I'm going to play it now as if it was natural minor so you can hear the difference. Yeah, what do you think about that as a natural minor? It was dull.
It doesn't fit the genre.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't sound like a waltz.
It doesn't, oh, that's interesting. It doesn't sound like a waltz. Huh.
What goes to that?
It sounds like a weird, like, contemporary
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because you don't have that same, because a lot of composers raise the te up to T because it has a stronger lead toward do. As opposed to, it has a stronger lead up to do. So that's why like Mozart and Schubert are raising it, because they want to have that strong like to do. Okay, last one, Bach's melody. Which one? Why would it be melodic?
I have no idea. The C is raised.
Yep, the C sharp is raised. So the big question with melodic is whether you have both La and T raised.
That sounds different on the way down than on the way up.
I think it's harmonic. There's no sixth raised.
Because what would be the sixth in D minor? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la. It would be B flat. So what you're looking for is if it was melodic, you'd have both B naturals and C sharps. You'd have two accidentals going on. So what's the B? Is the B naturaled
No.
at all? Okay. So you see only one consistent accidental. That's a cue that it's going to be that's going to be harmonic. Yeah. So there's slowly. And I don't see any. Yeah. See, every time C sharp appears, C appears, it's sharp. And how about this? Here's what it would sound like if it was melodic. Okay? I'm going to play it as if it was melodic. Yeah, it didn't work. Okay, I'm going to play it as natural minor now. So I'm going to have the T to be Te.
Everything else sounds weird now.
But it seems more stable.
Huh?
I think that
What number is this, Jim?
7A.
Okay, not me, don't get excited, man. It's because I'm short, I know. Oh, I could hide neath the wings of the bluebird as she sings. The 6 o'clock alarm would never ring, but it rings and I rise, wipe the sleep out of my eyes. My shaven razor's cold and it stings. Cheer up, sleepy Jean, what can it mean to a daydream believer and a homecoming queen?
Okay, so here are the notes. So what I've done is I've circled myself the notes that don't fit in the chords, and so double check your answers essentially with what I have. So in the D major, so I gave this one for you. All of these notes don't fit the chord. Here it's the A that doesn't fit in the G major chord. The B doesn't fit in the A minor 7 chord. C doesn't fit in the G major 7 chord. Huh?
There's some G there. Or should that be considered the 7?
The G here? Well, the G here would fit in the chord, right? Because the G major.
In A minor 7.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, so the G is because the A minor 7 chord is A, C, E, G. Then it fits in the chord, yeah. Okay, and then C doesn't fit in the G major 7 chord. Okay, that's good. The E doesn't fit in the G. A doesn't fit in the E minor 7. Okay, that's pretty good. Same thing as before. Doesn't fit. A doesn't fit in the G major chord. B doesn't fit in the A minor 7 chord. C doesn't fit. The A doesn't fit in the C chord. The C doesn't fit in this G major chord. A doesn't fit in the E minor 7. For the D7, the G's here don't fit in the D7 chord. And then the E doesn't fit in the D7. E doesn't fit, again, in the D minor chord. B doesn't fit in the D chord. A doesn't fit in the C chord. E doesn't fit in the G chord. D doesn't fit in the C chord, and neither does the B. And then C doesn't fit in the G chord. It also doesn't fit in the E minor 7. And then finally, A doesn't fit in the E minor 7. Yeah, does anyone have any questions about this, or did they get something different, or that they were wondering about? Okay, so we call these non-chord tones. So if you take out the handout that looks like, you take out the handout that looks like this. We call these non-chord tones. They've also been called
Non-chord tone summary sheet?
nope, it looks like this. Don't worry, we're gonna get to the non-chord tone summary sheet in just a second. Yeah, there we go, that one. Although hold on to the non-chord tone summary sheet because we're about to talk about that. So they call these non-chord tones. They're also called embellishment tones. And as non-chord tones are more or less what it sounds like. They are tones that do not fit in the chord. They're called embellishment tones because they're often thought to be extraneous, as in they add notes onto a melodic structure as a way to kind of add interest. But like I said, they're kind of thought of as extraneous. So a lot of the time, people, when they think of music, as like a house or something, or as a building, with this notion that there's kind of a structure to the house in terms of a blueprint. That's my house. There's a blueprint to the house, and you've got like the structure of it. But then you can decorate it in all sorts of different ways. You could paint it blue, you can paint the walls blue, or you can paint it pink, or whatever. And the idea of these embellishment tones or non-chord tones is they're a way to add interest. They're a way to kind of color or decorate the structure of the melody, which are the tones that fit in the chords. And we have, so now Jacob is a great time to take out the non-chord tone summary sheet. Because here's the list of the non-chord tones. And I'm going to be upfront with you that on this list we have suspension and retardation. Ignore those for now. We're going to come back to those.
That's not very nice.
But the idea is that we have a couple of different types of non-chord tones, because no one is completely original every time they decorate a melody. They're using kind of patterns or types of notes that have been done before. And they're defined by whether they move by step, or by skip, which is a third, or by leap, and mostly if they move by step, which is when you're moving from like one letter name to the next letter name. So G up to A would be a step, A up to B would be a step, D down to C would be a step, and so on. So the first one is passing tone. that if these are C major chords going on here, the D doesn't fit in the C major chord. Essentially, it's just passing on through. It's passing from the C up to the E. And so a passing tone is approached and left by step going in one direction. Contour is what we call the shape of a melody. So the shape of the melody is like either a straight line going up diagonally or kind of a diagonal line going down. A neighbor note is very similar to a passing tone, except that instead of kind of traveling down to another note, you go down a step and then you go back up to the same note. You go down and then up. Or you can do the other way, you can go up and then back down, but you're coming back to the same note. And it has that contour, kind of this motion, or this motion, depending on if you go up or down first. Any questions so far? Yeah? All right. Actually, we're gonna hold on neighbor group for now too. So we're going to come back to these later on. Okay, so then flip it over. We're good. So an appoggiatura is when it's approached by skip or by leap. A skip being when it's moved by a third, a leap when it's being moved by a fourth or fifth. So the idea with an appoggiatura is it skips or leaps first, and then it goes back in the opposite direction by step. That's not what I meant to play. That actually sounded kind of nice. So here's the appoggiatura. It's used a lot in vocal music because it adds a lot of kind of tension and suspense. Because a lot of the time it's on, it doesn't have to be, but a lot of the time it's on a strong beat. So if we're going from a C chord to a G chord, then the E doesn't fit in the G chord, and then it resolves down. But it's this notion of you have to go up, and then you come down again. You can also go the other way. Go down. You always have to move in opposite direction. You always have to go first by a skip or a leap and then a step. So I'm going to play the second example. Questions about appoggiatura?
I understand the definition, but not really how those examples show.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, don't worry. I listened to you guys. I have ransom style music examples that I'm going to play for you after I go through the ransom note style music examples. Ransom note style meaning I cut and paste them onto a sheet of paper. Okay, only 3 more. So escape tone is kind of the opposite of the appoggiatura. If the appoggiatura goes by leap and then by step, the escape tone goes by step and then leap. My undergraduate music theory professor told me to think of a robber escaping. So a robber, when they escapes, when they may step outside of a window, but then they totally fall. I don't know why, but for whatever reason that really works on me. And so it's the notion of step first and then leap. So here's the escape tone. That D doesn't fit in the C major chord, and then it goes down. So steps first and then leaps. Here's the second example.
Can we hear the appoggiatura again, just compare it to that?
Yeah, good idea, I like it. So here's the appoggiatura. And this time what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna play it so it's not on the strong beat. So I'm gonna play C, E, and then D with the strong beat. So that would be the appoggiatura.
So these are like ways to, like, instead of like parts of the melody, are these like ways to get from chord to chord?
Yes,
Like,
a lot of the times
Oh.
they really help you to get from
Yeah.
chord to chord.
That's what it's, yeah.
It's like a way to kind of decorate a melody. Because if you say like, okay, so here's a melody where everything fits the chords of the melody. So every note I played fits the chord of the melody. That was a bad example because I didn't actually change any chords. Let's try this one. Yeah, that was a solid melody. But it's kind of boring after a while to only play notes that are in the chord. So what I can do is I can do. And I can add on notes.
And which one would that be?
So that would be a passing tone. Oh no, now I don't remember what I played. Oh no, it'll be easier when I show you the musical examples. But and to answer your question, yes, a lot of the time they help you get from chord to chord.
Okay.
Yeah. So, okay, Allie, sorry.
It's okay. So when you do like step and leap, you're just talking about the top notes in the chord, right? Like when it goes from C to D, that's a step, and then D to D is a leap.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just
So in these examples, it's like there's kind of one voice. This is like the melody line. And here the melody line is here. So the notion is that each of these are kind of one musical line, and that all the other lines are kind of just playing the chords, but this is doing something different because it's playing. But yeah, good question. Thank you.
wait. I'm sorry. Can you just define one more time and then just repeat step and leap?
Yeah. So a step is when you. So a step is so. I talk about it in terms of, so a step is when you just move up the scale, either up or down by one note. So like F up to G, or E down to D. A skip is when you move a third. So F up to A, or E down to C. A leap is anything that is a fourth or higher. So F up to B, E down to F would be considered leaps.
Okay.
And so an escape tone is approached by step, and it's left by either a skip or a leap.
Okay, that's what was confusing because
Yeah.
the first example is a skip.
I know, yeah. It's like, not everyone agrees on all of these terms. Sometimes people use like leap for third and up. Everyone can kind of agree on step, but skip and leap are a little bit, like they kind of blend together sometimes. So an appoggiatura is approached by either a leap or a skip, and always approached by step. An easier way to think about it is an appoggiatura is always approached by something that's not a step, but then resolves by step. An escape tone is always approached by step and always left by something that's not a step. So it could be something like this could be an appoggiatura. So if I'm like here, this could be an appoggiatura. That was pretty terrible because I didn't think of the key. Let me try that again. It's nice, right? Yeah. That was a lot better than what I did before, yeah.
It doesn't work like that. I like the first one way better.
So I'm
It's
like,
weird.
I'm doing something that's not a step. And then I'm resolving down by step. An escape tone would be the opposite, where it starts by step. Because that's the other thing, is it's always going in the opposite direction. If an appoggiatura is going up, it has to resolve down. If it's going down, then it has to resolve up. An escape tone is, so a step and then something that's not a step, going in the opposite direction. So here would be the escape tone. So that would be an example of escape tone.
I feel like that's used a lot in vocal music.
It's used all the time in vocal music. And there's actually like an embodied cognition reason as to why it's used a lot in vocal music. Because appoggiaturas and escape tones, they so much embody this notion of kind of like reaching out and kind of taking. Or like tension and then release. And so you'll have all these, like, so I'm going to improvise an aria. So that would be an appoggiatura. Yeah, exactly. These are all things you've heard before a million times. It's just now we're adding names to it so that when you compose it or when you're arranging music, you can identify it and know how to treat it, or know why it works that way. Or know that if you want to compose something that really creates something very dramatic and theatrical, hey, an appoggiatura would be a good thing to put in there. Okay, and we've got only two more. An incomplete neighbor tone is a more generic form of an appoggiatura or an escape tone. This is, it can come by any, so essentially if it kind of doesn't fit an appoggiatura or an escape tone, but then it resolves by step, just do this. This is like the lost and found box. If it doesn't fit in anything else, it's probably this, an incomplete neighbor tone. And anticipation is very familiar also from vocal music. It's essentially when you hit a note before when it actually comes in the chord. So here's a C major chord going to a G major chord. A B doesn't fit in a C major chord, but it's in the G major chord that comes right after it, and it's repeated. So. And you figure out what key I'm in. It is. It's used a lot. Actually, what is a version of that is used a lot in Daydream Believer, which is called the syncopated anticipation, which means, which you can just write anticipation. In the examples I'm going to show you, I put like and then sync to kind of show that it's a syncopated anticipation. But it's where, so a syncopated anticipation is when there's a tie here, and you don't play this note again. Does that make sense? And you don't play it again, but it's still kind of there. So that would be like, and that's all over Daydream Believer. Okay. All right. I'm so excited to play for you my musical examples. So, here you go. When the heavens are bright, when the light from the glittering stars. So what we have here is A does not fit in the G major chord, and it's a passing tone because it comes from here by step, and then it keeps going in the same direction by step. Just keeps on walking along. Same thing for here. Here's a passing tone. It goes down by step, and then goes down again by step. And this is a neighbor tone because it goes down by step, but then it goes back up by step. Neighbor tone, it's always going to go back to the same note. Okay? That's why it's a neighbor. It's like you're visiting your neighbor's house, and then you're coming back to your own.
I like the neighbor group better. I like to have two neighbors.
Oh, yeah. So I'll play it with the neighbor group.
Right.
Wait, do we have to say that? Okay.
Oh, you don't. Sorry. You don't have
Just
to.
making sure.
I was like, you guys get so many handouts already. So, how often around it. So how about you sing this? How about you sing it and just for fun, clap when there's a non-chord tone. All right, ready, sing. Hey, no clapping. I didn't hear any clapping. Clap when there's a non-chord tone. It'll be fun, I promise. Okay, here we go. Ready, set, sing. Hey, nice. Okay. My life moves on in endless praise of the lamentation. Ignore the last non-chord tone. But once again, we have another passing tone here. And how do we know that it's a passing tone?
Because it goes up a step and goes up a step.
Goes up a step, goes up another step. It's a neighbor note. How do you know it's a neighbor note?
Because it's second from the last.
Yep, it comes back. Exactly. Why did you sing that? Here's your note. Ready, and then clap when you hear an non-chord tone. 1, 2, ready, sing. My life goes on in endless praise. All right. Next time, Beauty and the Beast. Tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme, Beauty and the Beast. Thank you. I don't know if that's a compliment for the song or my singing, but I'm going to take it as
You do
my
have a
singing.
beautiful voice.
Thank you. There's some great pandering. I love it. Okay. All right. So here's the neighbor note because it goes back up. Same thing again. Okay. So this is an incomplete neighbor tone. Why is it it's an incomplete neighbor tone and not an appoggiatura or escape tone? Because an appoggiatura and escape tone always have to go the opposite direction as it came, and this is not. I didn't realize how large of a leap that was actually for a singer. That's a major seventh right there. So it's going up, but then it's continuing to go up. So it doesn't fit appoggiatura escape tone. So you label it incomplete neighbor tone. Oh, it's an incomplete neighbor tone. That's what the I is for. Oh, good question. If it was a complete neighbor tone, what would it look like? The A would be up here. Well, it is an A, but it'd be up an octave.
Oh, so because the A is down the octave, it's not like the shape.
Yes. So if it was up here,
Tale as old as time,
song as old as rhyme, Beauty and the Beast. And it's escape tone because it goes up a step first and then goes down.
So escape tones
Yeah.
are essentially like tones that you use tones that you use before the song resolves.
Yeah.
Escape tones like sort of like
Yeah.
just sort of like get you there. Like, okay, here's the way out. Here's the way to how this is supposed to resolve, so to speak.
Yeah, you can say that. An escape tone is kind of a way to kind of like, an escape tone is it's a way to like delay resolution. In terms of it kind of adds an extra note that's not resolving you the way you want to go. And it's kind of like a way to delay before the actual resolution. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like, you know how like when you go to concerts, like a lot of times, and I know Bruce Springsteen does this a lot, like in his concerts. I've never seen him live, just heard his live recording show. He always just stays on that escape tone for sometimes like 5 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
Before resolving the song.
And people do that in performance a lot, so I can do Tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme, Beauty and the funny? There's like a level it's like there's a point in which it becomes like, oh yeah, this is kind of cool. It's like a way to like increase tension, and then it becomes like what's happening? Okay, so Bono 2. I'm gonna butcher this. I apologize in advance.
Oh, I love this one.
I was born a child of grace, nothing else about the place.
Everything was
Sorry,
so
I apologize to people who are a fan of Bono YouTube. So passing tone goes down by step, goes down again by step. This is what Kelly so stupidly pointed out, which is this is an anticipation, but it's a syncopated version because you don't like repeat it, but it's tied. Same thing here, more passing tone, another anticipated syncopation, and so on. All right, we got one more. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you tomorrow. Aww.
Aww.
I'm gonna play this again without the non-chord tones, and we're gonna see how much more boring it is. I'm just gonna kind of substitute other chord tones. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you tomorrow.
Still sounds good.
Actually, it sounds okay, but it's not as memorable. It's not as like, I don't know, as dramatic, I think, anyway. Okay, so this is a neighbor tone. So this is a weird neighbor tone because it's on a strong beat. Usually neighbor tones, usually it would be like that, but it's still a neighbor tone. You've got an appoggiatura because it goes up a fourth and then down by step. Same thing here, and then same thing here. So a lot of the times in a composition and a melody, you're writing a melody, a lot of the times you'll kind of use the same non-chord tone a couple of times to create certain effects. Okay? Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow, always a day on. Okay. I really wanted to go for it, and then I got self-conscious. Does that make a little more sense now that you've seen it in pieces? Yeah? Okay. So, go back to Daydream Believer. Go back to Daydream Believer. What I've done is I've noted 5 different non-chord tones, and I want you to label what they are. So this one here on Wings, number 1. This one here on Blue. This one here on, I don't know, of Alarm. This one here on Never. And there's only one on the other page, but this one here on the Ray of Razor. So I want you in small groups. I want you to label what those embellishment tones are, and then I want you to write down answers to, well actually here to save time. So get into small groups so I can see them, and then I'll assign, no. Okay, no, so get into small groups and answer all 3 of these questions, and then use your answers from those questions to answer these questions. So I'll give you about 5 minutes or so. All right. Tell me what you got. All right, number 1. Quickly, what is it? It is an anticipation. It is the syncopated variant. What about number 2? Same thing. Okay. Okay. Anticipation, syncopated variant. Yep. Number 3.
Escape tone.
Escape tone. Why is it an escape tone?
Because it escapes.
Because it escapes.
Because it's a step and then a leap.
Yes, exactly. It's a step and then a leap in the opposite direction. Number 4, what is it? Passing tone.
You sure it's not a failing?
And then number 5, what is
You
it?
sure it's not a failing?
Why is it a neighbor note? And you can label neighbor note either like neighbor tone like that or NN like that. All right. Are there more chord tones or non-chord tones? Yeah, there are more chord tones. Do you notice any patterns in the way that the monkeys use non-chord tones? Yes, Jacob.
Yeah. So, like, during the times in the song where they slide down to, my eyes and razors and Jean, they really seem to love using those little non-chord pattern dip, whatever, dips.
Yeah, they love to use they love to use things like escape tones. They use appoggiatures elsewhere as a way to kind of create nice contour, create like a nice arc in, like a nice arc in the melody. Yeah, exactly, it's a way to create dips. Yeah, anything else? Yeah.
We kind of discovered that non-chord tones in the songs come out right before the chord changes.
Yeah, that's a really nice observation. So non-chord tones tend to come at the end of measures, right before the chord changes. Nice. Chris?
Even when they don't come at the end of a measure, they're used a lot. Chord changes, like it's focused on the chord, so
right.
They like to use them to foreshadow the next notes, to like set up the next note, the resolution.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, exactly. It's used to foreshadow, and this kind of goes to what Henry kind of recognized earlier, which is how non-chord tones in general are used to kind of foreshadow the next chord. It's a way to help transition to get to the next chord. Yeah. Anything else? Any other patterns that people noticed? All right. How do the monkeys emphasize chord tones? Yeah.
For all there's all the half notes in the song are chord notes or chord tones. Like there aren't any non-chord tones that are held along with a quarter note.
Really nice. Yeah, exactly. So chord tones are often have longer durations. Exactly. Yeah. Anything else?
Chord tones are usually on downbeat.
Yeah, that's another really nice observation. Chord tones are usually on the downbeat. Okay, so using kind of all of this, did anyone have any kind of answers to this? How does melody relate to harmony, at least in this song?
I didn't really understand this question. Like, what do you mean? What's the harmony?
Oh, the harmony would be the chords.
Oh, okay.
So when I say harmony, I mean what are the chords and the chord progressions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that like usually they go together, but then sometimes they add in transitions or embellishments within the chord tones.
Sometimes the melody emphasizes the chord, and sometimes it is used to transition.
Yeah, sometimes the melody emphasizes the chords, and sometimes it's used more as transition. Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Often when syncopated anticipation resolves, that's when they choose to do the chord change.
Yeah, so when things like the anticipation resolves, they use the chord change. Nice. All right, how can you use any of this information to inform your own songwriting, because your composition project is composing a song, melody and harmony. So, what tips can you get from the monkeys? From the monkeys. That's a thing, right?
30 years ago.
It's from the TV show. There we go.
Is anyone else familiar with this TV show?
There's a
I've heard
monkeys
of it.
TV show.
You all should watch it.
From the monkeys. All right. Okay.
No.
What tips do you have?
I swear.
Right? In harmony within chords, and sometimes embellishment.
Sorry.
Yeah. So you can.
Joke.
So write a melody that mostly fits the chords. Maybe be conscientious about when you are using Maybe be conscientious about when you're using chords that aren't in the, notes that aren't in the chord. Yeah.
I feel like you can use passing tones for transitions and like things like escape point for tension. So it kind of depends like where you are in the song.
Yeah, that's really nice. So it's like they have kind of like different qualities and different effects for each one. So passing tones can be used like kind of transition between notes to make like smooth transitions. Yeah. Anything else? All right. So take out the. So let's answer. So on the original homework, I asked you, how does your short-term memory influence how we perceive and make sense of the song, and how does our long-term? So what do you have? How does short-term memory influence how we perceive and make sense of the song? Yeah, August.
I said that with short-term memory, we only process chunks of music at a time, and so the repetition within the verse and the chorus help us remember and retain and recognize what we have listened to.
Yeah, nice. Using repetition to kind of help us remember because the different chunks of music. Yeah, what else? Or what about how does long-term memory influence how we perceive and make sense? Yeah, Henry.
I was gonna say it like we associate like chunks of this song with chunks of other songs we've heard before.
Yeah.
And that produces like emotions and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We showed the chunks of this song with other songs. We're always relating things to things we've heard before. Yeah. It also helps with like genre perception and recognizing it in like style or genre. Yeah. Anything else?
Things we can recognize things like timbre, how the vocalist sounds, how the instruments sound, and also how the cadence is.
Yeah, so timbre, vocal sounds, closure, these all relate to kind of experience with the style in your culture, right?